first.
Yeah, we're in a probably stronger position now, Simon, than we have been for about 18 months, 2 years, in terms of availability. Obviously bad news with Ben last week, but touch wood, he's come through okay. We'll get some more news today, but it's positive. James Hook has recovered and is likely to be available for selection this week. Barry Davies is probably a couple of weeks away, as is Tom Smith, slightly ahead of schedule. So we're in a reasonably clean bill of health for first time in a long time.
What's the situation with Ben then?
I think we'll put a more formal statement out by the medical team, but there's no breakages. There's some bruising and some ligament damage, but no structural injury, and he's up and walking around the ward. So I don't think there's anything more than that. Pete, is there? Yeah, but it's positive news. Yeah.
There's nothing that endangers him in the future.
No.
Yeah, similarly, we're probably in the strongest position we've been for a couple of years in terms of selection availability. Although we have got a couple of niggly injuries which we're still waiting on. Obviously, Ken Owens got injured with Carmarthen Quins on Saturday, and we're looking at that, but we're hopeful that he'll be okay. John Davis's ankle, again, is something that we're monitoring, and we're very hopeful that will be okay. Rhys Priestland has got a knot in his hamstring, which again we'll have to wait and see till about Thursday whether that's going to be okay or not. And the other one then is Rob McCusker. So we're not really going to be in a position to announce our team till probably Thursday.
Andy Fenby?
Yeah, Andy Fenby has got a sportsman's hernia, so he's going to have an operation which will probably keep him out for about 4 weeks.
That's a blow, right?
It is a blow, but luckily we've got a little bit of strength and depth there with Dan Evans and Rhys Priestland having played there for us in the past. So we're certainly building up a lot more strength and depth in that position than we've had. But Andy has gone well there. He offers something different, and he's been a big part of what we've been over the last 2 or 3 games.
And Ken Owens, you're hopeful it's not a torn placement?
No, initially we were a little bit more concerned, but since then, it's looking a lot more optimistic. But again, our hooker position is one that we've got a lot of strength and depth, particularly with the emergence of Emmet Phillips for this season.
So the likelihood of James starting?
We'll have to wait and see. He's pretty strong and looking fit. He's causing us serious problems in our defensive sessions on the attacking team, which is a good sign. But obviously he's had no pitch time since the South Africa game. Not only that, our current centre pairing of Andrew and Tommy are playing particularly well. So we'll have to wait and see. It's been a process of reintegrating players back for us since the start of the season. So we've had to take slight hits here and there in terms of game time. We did the same last week with Mike Phillips and Ryan, and they need to continue their reintegration back into the side. We're not taking a short-term view on things like this, Simon, particularly with Hookie. So, the likelihood is, if any, at best, he'll be on the bench. But then again, he's not a bad impact player to come off the bench.
Your favourites for this game?
I don't know. I think it's pretty evenly matched. I think Scarlets have made a great start to the season. I think they've shown great home form, which is important in this league, and they've picked up 2 home bonus points, plus a vital win against last year's BBC Wales Team of the Year, the Dragons, away. So it's a difficult place to win. So they're going really well at the moment. They've got some good young players that have come through, and I think it's going to be a tough game. But hopefully, we're gathering a bit of momentum, and we can give the Scarlets perhaps their sternest test so far this season, and that's how it should be. We're sort of 4 or 5 games in and looking for an evenly matched derby, and I'm sure that's what it's going to be Saturday.
How many more levels do you have to go after the performance against Aroni to beat the Scarlets?
Oh, we need to go up a couple of notches, I think. We're in a similar place to where we were this time last year. We'd lost 2 home games, but then we pinched an away win to Glasgow and then comfortably beat Edinburgh at home. So we're slowly gathering momentum. As I say, it's key to get some players playing some games. For example, Adam will only be making his second start of the season. Alan Wynne is coming back. Tommy and Shane and Lee and they've been on tour in the summer, so they need a couple of games. If anything, the initial games in the Magners have been warm-up games for them. So, we started to see maybe the second half that they're gathering some momentum. We need to up that notch on Saturday against the Scarlets.
No, this is your first real test, isn't it, of the season?
Well, I wouldn't say that. You've got to give credit to the other teams we've played. I think Connaught have surprised a few people already. We've seen what Benetton have been able to do. And as Sean said, the Dragons are a different proposition at home to away from home. So I've been very comfortable with the way we performed. But this is definitely going to be a couple of notches up for us. Regardless of form, it doesn't really count for much going into a fixture like this. I think the important thing is other people will say who's favourites, who's not favourites. It doesn't really matter to the two teams. The two teams will be confident in their ability and they believe that they can win. And that's going to make for a cracking encounter.
Nigel, does a big European game coming up after this add extra edge to the game, or does the game just stand up in that?
No, I don't think it needs extra edge, to be honest. Europe will look after itself. We've, as a group, made a big commitment to the league this year. It's probably something that we haven't done in the past. We want to do well in the league this year, and to do that, one of the things that we've got to do is improve our home form. We haven't got a great record against the Ospreys, so we've got a lot of work to do, and it's going to be a huge challenge for us.
What's your view on that, Sean?
Look, it's still early days, isn't it? I think the Scarlets have scored a lot of tries this year. I think they've conceded a few as well, and if you look at past history in this league, it tends to give you a good statistical idea of where teams will end up. If you look at the points for, points against. Having said that, it's very, very early. We had a particularly tough defensive workout over in Limerick a few weeks ago, and then we had a bit of an attacking run out last Saturday. I think this week we're going to see a full-on workout both ends of the field. So that's great for us. It's great for the fans, and obviously with Europe coming up as well, it's great for the players that they have such a stern test away from home before going to Toulon, and places up for grabs with us. I say we've got a clean bill of health, so the players know that. Some are short of game time and they'll be able to prove something on Saturday.
Is the winner on Toulon?
No, not at all. No, not at all.
No, as you played in this game, or a version of this game, does it still kind of get the juices going?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's one of the big games. People want to come and watch this game, and rightly so. The intensity that it generates, the rivalry is hugely intense, but there's a lot of good friendship there as well, and it's probably appropriate that we're holding this press conference here because I would say in this area in particular there's probably a mix of supporters either side of the Lougher estuary, and that bridge unites us a little bit there, and a lot of people work together. I know in this building itself there's a lot of Osprey and Scarlet supporters, so it adds a little bit of extra flavour and edge to the whole encounter. So there's a lot on it, not only for the players but for our supporters as well.
For the players, there's obviously their ultimate rehearsals, kind of all that kind of stuff. That kind of adds to the spice, doesn't it?
To a certain extent, I suppose. Some may view this as a sort of a trial game, but really, you can't look too ahead of yourselves, and it's about performing on the day. It's a massive game in its own right, and both teams understand that and realise that. And for me, it's going to be all about on the day. Form and everything else doesn't really matter in these encounters. It's all about who turns up on the day and who will take their chances, because there'll probably be 2 or 3 moments in the game that will make the difference.
Does the fact that one of the best referees in the world is taking charge help in Nigeria?
Yes, quite possibly. It's going to need a strong character in the middle to manage the game. And traditionally, there have been incidents in games between us in the past, but that adds to the spice. And to have somebody very knowledgeable and strong in that area will certainly add value to the game.
Sean, does this game mean anything to the Ospreys? It also means something to the Scarlets, but you got Toulon coming up, all this kind of.
Can I say something about the referees first? Because I think we've all found it slightly frustrating, the inconsistencies at the start, and it's very difficult for referees coming in cold to these new directives. I'm sure Nigel's the same as us here. We've been coaching a particular way all summer, telling the players about what to expect, and we haven't really had what we've expected to date. now with a top-class referee who's been refereeing down under in the Tri-Nations, should be right up to speed. He's one of the top, 4 or 5 refs in the world. We'd expect these directives to be enforced. So, that augurs well for the game. It should be a good, clean encounter. With regards to the Ospreys in this game, it means a hell of a lot. Contrary to what Knight says, I don't think there's many Scarlets supporters the other side of the Lacher Bridge. No, I'm only joking. There is that. Of course, I worked for 6 years down here. I worked with Rupert and in the college, which is now a big part of the Scarlets. And so I understand the fervour that is down here surrounding these sort of games. For us, it's the same. We've quickly united as a region. It used to be Swansea and Llanelli, perhaps big, Neath and Bridgend versus Llanelli, but now it is clearly the Ospreys against the Scarlets, and we've already had memorable games against them, both at Stradey, at Parker Scarlets, down with us at the Knoll or the St Helens, or now the Liberty, and I'm sure Saturday will be no different. Big Saturday night's a different kick-off for us all. We're hoping for a full crowd with a good representation of Ospreys. It does mean a hell of a lot, and of course, there's the added value of the international selectors watching. And, clearly we both want to push up in the Magners League because having a top 4 place now is vital. And, for us, away form is important and nicking points away because they are crucial to where you end up.